Hello guys, it's Glurmit here and welcome back to the channel, and today is the start of a new series I'm making. It's one of those ones where it's not going to be weekly or even bi-weekly, it's just going to be as and when I can get footage of counters. And what I want to bring to you guys is basically a playlist on YouTube you guys can go to see off-meta counters that you wouldn't see anywhere else. And these will be counters that work. Some of them I will put disclaimers and say they're inconsistent. However, just knowing they work can be the difference between you winning a GAC or losing a GAC. Because there are times, guys, I've done it myself, I've seen other people do it, where we hit full tilt in a Grand Arena, and you lose the one or two counters that make a difference for you, or that are necessary to you winning. And then it just spirals out of control, and before you know it, you've used up every team but in the wrong place, right? So basically the idea of this series is to give you guys a place to go. Say you're struggling your GAC, or say you just want to see what beats what, you can scroll down the playlist and you can maybe see, oh, this team wins here, this team wins here. But obviously I will put disclaimers regarding relic levels or how successful it can be, because there are some really cool counters in the game, guys, but some of them are also really unlikely to pull off, but they can work, and that's the main thing. So guys, today's one is all about the smuggler faction. We are in 3v3, so it's a 3v3 video. Caveat here, guys, I do have R9 smugglers. You do not need R9. I would say a minimum you would want is R7. However, for those of you who are late game, you probably already have quite a few of these characters at R8 because of platoon requirements and because of special mission requirements. And the team we're talking about specifically today, guys, is Dash, Young Han, Vandal. That's all you need. You do need good mods. Dash needs to be very fast. Vandal needs a bunch of health. And Young Han needs as much offense as possible. If you can get all of these going, you have a very solid Malgus counter. So guys, I have done this quite a few times in the past. By quite a few, basically every 3v3 round. And without any datacrons, this will beat, with the same sort of method of approaching the play, this will beat any Malgus lineup that does not contain Malik or Basti and DR together. It can beat, without the datacron, all of those lineups that do include anything that I haven't mentioned. So for example, Sith Marauder and Talon is very easy as max banners with this team. For example, Basti and Talon, or Darth Revan and Sith Marauder, all of these you can beat no issue. Now if you have the datacron, we're in enduring power as of right now, and we're looking specifically at the level 6 here, guys, which is here. This will open it up to you now being able to beat any Darth Revan team. Now I have left in 3 battles here. 2 of them are timeouts and 1 of them is a win, but I just want you guys to note that only one of those battles I would class as impossible to one-shot, and that is the Malgus with Malik lineup. And again, it doesn't matter if they have DR or Basti, because it's Malik himself who's causing you problems because he's slowing you down so much. Now all the other lineups, and one of them is a timeout, but that's also down to datacrons, because it had tank revive. And even then, that's just a little bit of RNG, and we'll get into that in a second. But with regards to all the other lineups, this is easy, and the best thing is max banners. So guys, let's roll into the footage. Right, here we go. So one of the things about the Dash team, and the reason this works so well, is because Young Han stacks and ramps offense, guys. He's ramping 10% offense at the start of each turn that he has protection up. Now, there is a slight misconception here, guys, when it comes to working out how stats are calculated. It's not a ramping offense. It's not like he gains 10% and then 10% on top of that, and 10% on top of that, and 10% on top of that. Instead, it is just 10% of his base max offense, right? So we just need to clear that one up, and I'll show you where it says in game before I resume the footage here, just so you guys are aware of how it's actually working. And this is the same for basically any character who gains ramping stats. So if we go to Young Han and we go to his unique, when Han starts his turn with protection up, he gains 10% offense. Basically, when it says stacking offense, it basically means it's accumulative. So whenever you gain 10%, the next time you're going to gain 10% on top of the 10% you've already gained, right? So say you have 100 offense, you're going to be gaining 10 with every single turn he takes. Now, if it said in the wording his current offense, instead of doing the base 10%, he would actually be gaining 10% and then include what he's already got and put 10% on top of that. So say it's 100, it would go to 10%. And then say he's at 110, he would then be getting 11. So I hope that, guys, kind of explains how the offense ramping is happening. That's why you want to mod in for as high offense as possible. I've seen some people mod in for crit damage. I think that's completely wrong. Because if you really think about it, guys, his offense, he's ramping, but it's based on his starting offense stats. So you want Datacrons with high offense. You want just high offense mods. And if you can do all of that, then yeah, he's going to be ramping like crazy. It just takes a little bit of time. And that's why the Malik one just kind of sucks, guys, because Malik is just interrupting everything. And yeah, you can see I do take Malik out, but I just don't have enough time to get through Malgus in the end. Now, the second battle I'm going to be showing you guys is Darth Revan with Basti. Now, this one I would class as a win, even though we did lose. The chances and the odds of Vandor dying at the end was just so unbelievably slim. But it happens sometimes. I just want to make that very clear, guys. Sometimes when you're doing off metas, it's part of the name, guys. It's off meta. Things can go wrong, right? So I just want you guys to understand that. However, this is still very consistent. I'm telling you guys because I've been using this for years now. Ever since I took my Young Han to R9 for the channel, I've been using this counter to beat Malgus with no issue. It's only now that I've got this Datacron set that I'm able to beat the better lineups. So, you know, if you don't have this set, you can still absolutely beat all of those Malgus lineups that don't include Basti and DR together, or Malik and DR or Basti, right? So it does work really, really nicely. Unfortunately, it was just a tank Cron giving the 100% TM cooldown reduction, and he just one-shotted the only character that mattered. If that didn't happen, we could have kept it on auto, and we would have won eventually. Ignore the infinite TM, that's just a Datacron thing. It doesn't actually help us in this situation. And if you guys are wondering how we're actually doing the counter, because I know I've been showing you the footage, but I haven't been explaining, I thought I would save it for the last battle I'm going to show you in a second, guys, which actually is a little bit slower. I've slowed it down a little bit, and we can actually go through how you're pulling this off. The thing about Malgus teams, guys, is especially if DR's not there, there's not really a lot of damage in the team, outside of Malgus' big drop. So in this example, we have Darth Revan with Malgus with Sith Marauder. Now, the Datacron, like I said, is level 6 for mercenaries, and what it's going to be doing is whenever you attack out a turn, you're going to attack out a turn again. Now, that does make this a lot easier, guys, but you do not need it. Not for these sorts of lineups, because with these lineups we're up against here, there's just not enough to really worry. I would actually say bulk crons are very nice here. Anything that's like protection, health recovery, anything with high offense, high health is all very nice. So the way we're going to be doing this is you're going to be dazing them whenever possible with dash. Now, some of you will be saying, well, Malgus is recovering health and protection whenever you daze them or debuff them. And that is true. However, you need the daze because the daze is minus defense. And with that, you actually have enough offense to get through him. So what you're doing is you're just going in with the daze, keep everyone dazed. Whenever dash goes and Malgus has just used his taunt, if he's used it the turn before, don't do it. You're going to be dispelling. This is because you don't want to dispel and have him retaunt the next turn. So you always want to make sure you're basically dispelling as soon as he taunts up. That's the only time I ever used the stun. And then there is obviously a kill order. So if DR is there, DL is your priority. Now, Young Han is slightly bugged. Look at that, guys. Basically max banners. So Young Han is slightly bugged. Well, it's just assisting characters slightly bugged, where you can actually assist on DR. I don't know when that's going to get patched, but even when it does, it doesn't make too much of a difference. You're going to want to keep on reapplying protection up to Young Han, so that is through Vandal's special. Make sure you do have, guys, the Omicron on dash if you want to try this team, because you need to be reapplying that prepared. And what that's going to do is that's going to heal up someone. It's also going to get protection up. And remember, guys, every turn Young Han takes, he's gaining that ramping offense. Now, if you spin the dice or throw it whenever you can, you're actually gaining retribution, protection up, and most importantly, guys, you're actually going to be gaining speed. And once you get to that 200 speed, that's when you start ramping, because you're just taking so many turns. So for example, my Young Han would go upwards of 487 speed. When you're at that speed, you can pretty much outspeed anyone in the game. It just takes a little bit of time to get there. And then obviously Vandal's doing his thing. You kill off DR, you kill off the sides, and then you just put it on auto, and Malgus will eventually die. Now, where can this counter go wrong? Well, it's pretty obvious, guys. Malgus just goes and big hits your Vandal Chewie in the opening. So what I thought I would do is, before we finish the video, let me just show you the modding, and this also helps make it a little bit more consistent. So we have Dash. My Dash is okay, he's nothing special. He is R9, again guys, relic levels, just relic 7 is what I would recommend. I've only got them relic 9 for content creation purposes. You do not need this. If you have them R7 with good datacrons and good moddings, you can absolutely pull this off. And like I said, you're going to need these characters for special missions in Rote anyway, so if you're in a big guild, you probably have this team built. So guys, my Dash is 328. You do want a little bit of crit chance, guys, because that gives you turn meter whenever you're critting. So I like to do a crit chance set, or if I don't do a crit chance set, I actually like to do a crit chance primary. But obviously crit damage is better if you have it available. Offense is always nice on the cross. You always want health on the circle, and obviously speed on the arrow. Crit damage or crit chance on the triangle, just depending on how likely you are or how much you think you are going to be critting the enemy team. In terms of speeds, aim for a minimum of 300, but obviously Dash should be around about 330. Like I said, mine isn't particularly fast. If he's faster, it would be even easier. Young Han, again, he is the damage dealer. So if you was going to R8 someone for this team, he would be who I'd recommend. Even if he was going to R9 him, I wouldn't recommend. But hey, he is a rope platoon and a special mission character for R8 and R9. So if you did want to invest in him for that reason, then you have a home for him. But honestly, guys, R7 is perfectly fine. If you have him at R5, you'll be able to beat the rubbish Malgus lineups that you will see below Kyber. But the second you get into Kyber and people are setting good teams, you're just not going to have the offense. So he does unfortunately need to go to R7. Now, in terms of how I've got modded, obviously, like I said, guys, you're going to want him modded with health and offense. The reason you want health here, guys, is because protection up is based on max health, and you're gaining so much of it, so it's a nice survivability there. You're going to want a offense or crit damage triangle. Now, I like to go for the offense because, as I already told you guys, you're ramping offense. You're not ramping crit damage, you're ramping offense. So because the offense is always scaling, I want to have it as high as physically possible. Offense on the cross is mandatory. Offense on the arrow is very, very nice if you have good speed. Because he's gaining so much speed throughout the battle, you don't really need, you don't need to worry about 10 speed, guys. You're literally gaining 200 as it is. The circle, obviously health, and then obviously don't worry about these ones. So my Young Han offense is 11,000. I would say aim for around about 9 to 10k, and you should be perfectly fine, because that is 1,000 offense you're gaining each time he takes a turn with protection up. So it does make a bit of a difference, but that's how I would mod him. And then finally, guys, we have Vandal Chewie. Now it needs to be modded very, very specifically. So guys, this is more of a general modding for this guy. Here's the thing. If you want to mod him perfectly, you need to mod him as if you're going to be using him without the Omicron, because then you can actually use this team outside of 3v3. Obviously, I know this is a 3v3 off meta Grand Arena video, so do bear in mind you probably have the Omicron. But you want to mod him for as low protection possible, as high health possible. And it's all because of his unique, which is here, the Beast. So he is 40% less max protection. Whenever Chewbacca recovers to max protection this way, he becomes prepared. And if your protection is very, very low, you're going to be recovering very, very quick. Obviously, if you R9 him, it's always going to be a bit of a tough one to get the protection fine. But in terms of the mods themselves, just go health everywhere, guys. So we've got health primary here, health primary, health primary, health primary, and then just whatever has health as well over here. In fact, this is not the best mod because it has protection. So potentially, I will actually calibrate the protection off here and try and get it on the health, because it does make a little bit of a difference. But those are the mods, guys. That's the strategy. Like I said, this is not a counter for everyone. I know some of you will not have this team built up and will not want to build this team. But the whole point of this series, guys, is to bring forward counters you may not know exist. Obviously, if you watch all the streams, you've seen these all before. But for those of you who are new viewers, I know there are a lot of you out there, this is your opportunity to see some fun stuff that you can do in the game. Obviously, if you don't have the team, I wouldn't say go out of your way to build it. I do think that's a bit of a waste, despite how much I love the team. However, do just be prepared, right? See what I said there, guys? That's your prepared team. That this can be a good team, and it can also beat some other squads in the game that are pretty cool, and you'll probably see in future episodes. Anyways, guys, my name is Glummy. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, and maybe even sharing it to your guildmates. And with that said, I hope you guys all have a glowing day.